is. So you have to make sure that that last, I guess this D is really very articulate.
And I think tell me if I'm wrong, I think the C sharp is a weaker note than the D in this case. In other words, not to emphasize it more than the initial D.
Like 1, 2, 3.
Harp playing to me is like breathing. I play the harp every day. It's more important to play my harp than to eat sometimes.
Some weeks I'm terribly stressed out, but I find that the relief I get is when I'm actually rehearsing or performing. That's my relaxation.
Early music appeals to me because the composers and the performers weren't ashamed to be intellectual.
The reason I'm involved in this project is that I'd like to create something that is a little closer to what the music was intended to sound like.
There's an element of spontaneity in a performance because I never know what I'm going to do, I never know what my colleagues are going to do, and we play off each other.
I think everyone that is doing early music for a living is sort of schizophrenic. I think we're sort of driving our car looking in the rearview mirror. American Baroque was started 3 years ago for the main reason of just recording quartets by Telemann. He wrote so much music, and he was the most popular composer in the Baroque era. He was the superstar of his time. This new recording will be another set of quartets published in 1752 by Telemann. They're virtually unknown, they're unpublished at this point in time, and they're unrecorded.
Yeah, so again, we have to be sure we're strong at 115, so we have somewhere to go down from.
It's great music, like I said, it's unpublished. A few people know that it exists. They're in catalogs of the Telemann works and stuff, but they're very rarely performed, and up till this point in time, they have not been recorded at all. That's always the trick with making recordings of music that has never been recorded, because you never know between the time when you record it and when it takes a year or two to have the recording come out that somebody might not have already recorded it before you. For this recording, we've picked George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch in Marin County, California. The recording engineer, Jack, introduced me to the space, and I went there one day and met the people at Skywalker Ranch and brought my flute and tried the acoustics there, and they were very lovely. And it's state-of-the-art recording equipment for Jack to use.
What, in order of preference, what do you want to be able to do?
I want to be able to feel like, to hear the beginnings of their notes.
Okay, so continuo is basically what you need.
Yeah.
What we need is just to get the tail out there. The movement towards recording a lot of these ensembles in churches harkens back to the notion that a lot of this music was performed in venues such as churches and, I don't know, ballrooms perhaps, or areas that tend to be very, very reverberant. The question for me is it more important to provide the ingredients of the music, that being that when you look at the score, you see certain things, you hear certain things. Is it more important to give that to the listener, and then that person, you know, if he wants to hear or she wants to hear that performance live, can go to a church or go whatever and hear that? Or is it important to try to actually emulate what you think is the acoustic necessity for making that music sound quote-unquote authentic? I tend to lead towards the side that recordings are a tool. They're a way that people can learn music. They're a way that people can become familiar with music in a way that they can't in the concert hall. But I don't think that I want my recordings to supplant or to replace what goes on in live performance. I would like to think that when somebody hears a recording that I've done and the recording quality is of good quality, or at least in my opinion of good quality, that it's going to allow somebody to become enthusiastic about some music, and it's going to propel them into the concert hall.